Welcome to the Real Voices podcast, where we explore the personal journeys of real estate professionals through their own unique challenges and successes. Real Voices is brought to you by Equitable Title and Escrow, providing a better approach to title and escrow through team support and innovative services. Welcome to another show. We have another great guest. We have Dawn Bahr with us. Dawn, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you being on today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about how long have you been in the industry, and what do your clientele look like? Who do you serve?
First of all, I've been in the industry since 2003.
Okay, quite a while then.
Yes. Working a full-time job, and my husband was actually the one that said, why don't you do real estate? And I thought, that sounds kind of fun. So anyway, 18 years later, here I am.
Okay.
Being from South Dakota, it's just seemed naturally that most of my clientele are second home buyers or people that are looking for retirement communities. Okay. So that has been primarily my clientele over the years. And then, of course, as your business builds, you get referrals. Right. And then I've been able to help lots of people, different types of people over the years. But even from that job that I left back in 2003, I'm still helping those people and now doing maybe 3-4 transactions with those people over the years.
So how do you go about getting that type of a business, like out of state business? What do you do to market, or how's that work out for you?
Referrals has been my greatest source, and that's why I think it's important, because a lot of people go, well, my family and friends are in another state. But the fact of the matter is, those people have been some of my greatest resources, like my in-laws. They have referred me countless people, and they live in South Dakota. And even my dad that is a farmer back in South Dakota happened to meet somebody and referred me a client. So you never know where those people are going to come from. So referrals has been my greatest source. And then I've had Google. Mm-hmm. The Google paid ads, I've gotten leads that way too. Okay. So between the two, like the Google paid ads and our mom and dad's ads, which one do you feel like is better working out for you? It's always good, the word of mouth, right. But sometimes we can't always just depend on our database. So when we can feed our business from other sources, I think that really helps.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you sharing that. So South Dakota, I think you might be the second person I've met from one of the Dakotas.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little about your upbringing. What was it like there as a little kid, and what did you think you dream of being when you grew up?
Well, not a real estate agent. I actually am from a town called Winter, South Dakota, and grew up 17 miles from town, and grew up on a dairy farm. Okay. And actually went to a one-room country schoolhouse.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that was obviously kind of molded me into who I am, because growing up on a farm, there's chores to do morning and night, and even if you don't want to do them, you're going to be doing the chores. So work ethic is a huge thing, and then honesty, the integrity that goes along with that, and people are always willing to help out each other. Yeah. So that kind of molded, that's a big reason biggest reason of why I am, or who I am. Right. You know what I'm trying to say. But
definitely. Yeah. So when you're on the farm and some of those rough chore days, did you just assume that maybe you'd be here and this is what you do? A family? What were you dreaming about?
When I graduated from high school, I moved to Rapid City, South Dakota, and went to school there. Probably the biggest thing that changed me there was after I had gotten my 2-year degree, I went and worked for the Chamber of Commerce, and actually it was economic development in Rapid City. Okay. So I was 19 years old and an administrative assistant working with in economic development. They were a big part of businesses coming into town, so they would recruit those businesses. So even being that age, I was around higher level people. So that definitely that changed things there. And then I decided to go on to college to get my bachelor's degree. And then honestly, when I got done with my bachelor's degree, my husband and I were just dating at the time, and his job was taking him here. And I thought, okay, what's the worst thing that happens? I don't like it here in the big city, then I'll move back. So.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how you ended up here then.
Yeah, and my first job, or one of my first jobs, I worked for an airline and was doing human resources. And then after having kids, it kind of led me here. So.
Yeah. Okay. So in 2003, was that the job you left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. So you say you're still working with them. That's cool. Still.
Yeah, it is fun to know that after all these years, you still get to see those people work with them.
It means that you're probably a pretty good person to them then, right?
Well, actually, my first client was from there. He knew that I was new, and he was still willing to work with me because, he knew who I was. So it was a big trust factor.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. For those newer agents that come about, that's one of the things I talk to them about. Is like, hey, those people love you. They trust you. They'll be a little bit more forgiving, understanding where you are than some stranger. So it's okay to, it's okay to be new. Yeah.
Well, but on the flip side, I've heard it from both sides, because for me, it was better to work with somebody that I know. But some people are like, I don't want to help my friends and family, and I'd rather it be somebody that I don't know. So I think it depends on the individual too.
That's true. Very true. Very true. I appreciate that perspective as well. So talk to me about your current business. What are some of the struggles that you're facing with in the market right now? What are you dealing with?
Well, it's been since early on in my career. I have always mentored new agents too. So I do that right now. Also, I train new agents, mentor new agents, but then I also do my own business. It seems like some of the same struggles are the motivation, trying to stay motivated every day, because obviously there's nobody telling us that we have to go to work. So that's probably my biggest struggle, is just trying to stay motivated and be consistent, I think.
Yes, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you do to keep yourself motivated? What are some of the techniques that you're using, tools that you're using to help yourself?
I think it almost sounds kind of cheesy when I say it, but last week we did a vision board class. I love doing those every year because they're great reminders of what our goals are. And, you hear people talk about the big why.
Yes.
I think you have to have that so that you don't forget what is getting you up in the morning. And obviously everybody's big why is different. But I really think you have to know what that is, because whether it's wanting to go on some expensive trips, to pay off debt, what is it that drives you to get up in the morning and go to work? So as silly, I guess, as it may sound, that vision board, I see that every day. And those are the things that I want, whether they're material or goals, weight, business goals. I look at that every day and know that that's what I want to attain.
I appreciate it. Thank you. We eventually get what we want, right? When we really want. Yeah.
The craziest thing about a vision board, I've been doing them for years, and to look at them at the end of the year and go, wow. I mean, accomplishing almost everything on that vision board, It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you. They're not cheesy. I totally agree with those. Thank you. So I think, again, appreciate the perspective on that. Just trying to get through everyday life, right? Just every day, trying to stay positive. Do you get into the self-help books? Are you into those much?
Probably not as much as I should be. I kind of go through phases, but I don't. I should read more, but I like to watch YouTube videos and maybe different people that I like to follow, and it depends too on what I'm going through in my business. Like right now, I started farming a neighborhood, and years ago I did more video, and I really want to get back into that. So that's what I'm reading about now. I want to learn more about YouTube and the correct way instead of just doing it, I guess.
Yeah. So I fall into those same things as well, and sometimes I feel like I'm maybe a hypocrite because we're doing all the self-help things, and sometimes I'm like, I'm so sick of hearing about this, right? It's just, you're just like, ugh, right? And then you realize, all right, I better get back into it. So I think we're all just kind of up and down at times. So I appreciate the perspective.
Well, and besides self-help books, I even think there's, like Brian Buffini. I love Brian Buffini, and he's a great one to listen to. So it's not necessarily a self-help book, but it's something that you can listen to. He does podcasts that can help your business and I guess even personally too. So
yeah, I try and keep up a couple of his every now and then, catch up on those. So yeah, for sure. Thank you. So I wanted to just go back a little bit, just growing up and what you thought you'd be and the dreams that you had. When you're trying to help out with the family and just whatever that looked like, what will be, you figure, the most unique way you've ever helped with the family, put food on the table or brought some, what do you think that was for you guys?
Most unique, that's a different question. I don't know that it's unique, but with real estate, I mean, there's so many different possibilities. And I guess even growing up and as I got older, I thought I would be a teacher. Okay. I almost went to college to be a teacher. And my mom, that is one, talked me out of it because of the money, And so one of my first jobs down here, I was in human resources, but I also trained in the airline industry. I trained pilots, flight attendants on drug and alcohol counseling, whatever. It was just a mandatory thing they had to do in their training. So I always liked to teach. Okay. And I think that's always just been nice to be able, and not only to have the income coming in from listing and selling houses, but also to be able to train and see the what do you want to call it? See the fruits of your labor come back from that. Yeah, and obviously you get that good feeling when you help buyers and sellers, but you also feel good from helping new agents too and seeing them succeed. So I don't know that that's unique, but okay.
I love that. Yes. I love it. Thank you. So I feel that same way, especially helping newer agents, or just helping people in general, that aha moment for them, whatever that looks like. So it's for sure rewarding. Definitely. Yep. So what would you say your husband and you have some children?
Mm-hmm. 2 daughters.
Two daughters. What would you say they say that you are always trying to get across to them, trying to instill in them?
I think because I have 2 teenage daughters, to be self-sufficient. Okay. I mean, when I was younger, or in my early 20s, I never wanted to depend on somebody. I wanted to know that I could support myself, because you never know down the road, even if you are married or with a significant other, what could happen. So just to be self-sufficient, and it's been interesting because them seeing mom as a realtor, they don't necessarily want anything to do with real estate, which I thought they would want to, but no, I don't know. I think it's always the constant answering the phone and being interrupted. You're
never really off. You're always a realtor. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate it. So when I'm thinking about that self-sufficiency, what do you think that comes from you? Where do you think that came from?
Definitely from how I grew up, because you had to be self-sufficient. Even though we were 17 miles from town back then, I mean, my mom and dad go to town, almost on a daily basis now, but back then you didn't always go to town, maybe it was once a week. Right. So you were self-sufficient. You had to figure out how to make your own way. And I think just being independent, not relying maybe on others. Yeah. So that's probably where that came from.
Okay. Appreciate it. What do you think your most adventurous thing you've ever done in your life?
Oh, I am not an adventurous person. And I think I was more adventurous when I was younger, before I had kids. Oh, that's a good question. Wow. One of the bad parts about growing up on a farm, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with growing up on a farm, I don't really know how to swim.
Okay.
So for me, a couple of years ago, I went snorkeling for the first time. So for me, that was being very adventurous, because it's scary to me to be in the water. Yeah.
So, wow, that's something I didn't think. I grew up in Florida, so you better know how to swim.
Yeah, you better know how.
So when people tell me that, I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense if you just wasn't something that was pertain
and you
to
cannot teach an old dog new tricks.
Okay, so you're not interested
I have tried. I probably should still try, but anyway.
You think that's just pride? A little bit of the pride?
Oh, and being a little scared too.
Yeah. Okay. All right, swimming. I like it. So it's just going back to your business and how you're overcoming those things. What do you think you do for your clients? Let's say the next agent isn't doing for them, and why they're choosing you. What is that?
Go above and beyond. And I think my experience says a lot too, knowing before things maybe happen that you're trying to avoid maybe things that could happen or potential problems, and just treating people the way that they should be treated. Because when I do my transactions, I want them to come back and use me. I mean, the cool part about being in this business for a while is that you see repeat customers. You see yourself doing, like I said, 3 and 4 transactions with people. So it's just treating people the right way and just staying on top, maybe going above and beyond, I guess. It doesn't ever bother me to be picking up fruit on the ground or, is there baseboards that need to be wiped off before an open house, whatever. It's just going above and beyond, maybe.
I like it. What do you feel like you're most proud of in your life?
Probably my family, my kids,
Why
my
that?
girls. Why? I've tried to live life with no regrets. So when I look back, I mean, that's really what I've tried to do, is that I know that the decisions that I've made, I haven't regretted them. And because of those decisions is why I'm here today. So
I like it. Fierce. I'm like, no regrets.
I never
love
really
it.
thought about myself as fierce, but yeah, no regrets. Live life with no regrets.
Yeah, that's fierce, because some people can't do that. There's pause, and I don't. So yeah, that is fierce. I appreciate you coming on. I had a great conversation with you. Where can people find you at? How would they be able to get a hold of you?
Okay, my phone number is 602-418-4412. I do answer my phone.
It's the rare agent who answers her phone.
And then my email is realtorbar@gmail.com. And then my website's dawnbahr.com. I try to make it pretty easy. So
How do you spell your last name?
Bahr.
All right, folks, we got it. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.